should show up.
Okay, I'm gonna read where I added into the QR code and debate thing.
We're live. Okay. You might not want to read it right now because it is going to go live on YouTube.
Okay.
So why don't you just not use the microphone?
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Should I still say so you guys can hear me or? Okay.
I can hear you.
I can hear you anyway.
The debate will consist of two portions. The first will be the Senate candidates delivering their statements, followed by the executive candidates' opening statements, a question and answer section, and executive candidate closing statements. Each executive candidate will be given a 30-second wrap-up period after the questions have been asked. All executive... No. Okay, yeah. 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 Okay.
Oh, wait. That's fine, buddy.
It's not.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Okay, let me finish this. Followed by executive candidate opening statements, a question and answer section, and then executive candidate statements. Please follow the QR code on the screen. This will take you where you may submit questions for the candidates. The questions during the executive candidate portions will come from questions submitted by the audience as well as preset questions from the Election Commission. The Election Commission will be screening the questions and selecting the questions for the moderators to ask. Questions directed towards an individual candidate or questions that attack or disparage candidates will not be read. All candidates must be able to respond to the question asked. Due to the time constraints, we cannot guarantee that all questions will be asked even if they meet these guidelines. We ask that you please be respectful of all candidates and to remain quiet while candidates are speaking so everyone can hear the candidate's response. There will be no disruptive behavior tolerated. If you're having trouble submitting a question, please come talk to Chris and Amelia in the front corner. Okay, I'm good.
It's 6:55. I'm gonna go out and tell Ella
Wait, Kendra, did you just get a text message from me? Or if you're not gonna have your phone, I'll text Bryce instead. Just in case we need more questions. Let's keep an eye on the group me. Oh, it's raining.
It's drizzling for the next hour.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people are forced to be being in right now.
Yeah.
You want to pack it up?
Let's go around Chick-fil-A, just spreading the word.
Yeah, come on, go over a giant sign. So last year we were in front of the classroom.
Yeah, it was a classmate.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
What are buddy?
I don't know.
We have to do this whole extravagant production this year.
Yeah. And 4 microphones.
Yeah.
It's not showing.
Let me see if there's any settings we gotta adjust with that.
It's just not showing.
Anything in the chat, I don't know if there's any settings in the chat.
it might be not. It might be set to not show links. So it seems like it's not letting her see messages, but not links.
Yeah, there's no moderation settings. I put some moderation settings on there, so that's crazy.
Remember, the link worked fine last year, so.
That's weird. Wait, mic up there. Yeah. Huh? Put it in the video. Could you test it for me? I think I can.
Hello? Yeah.
I can send it to you.
Where is our guy? I'm texting Abby. Oh, no justice candidate. All executive board. Yeah, all of the executive ones are timing.
Okay, sorry. I thought you meant.
Yeah. It will be clear when we get there as well, so you know.
It's in there.
Yes. I need a banner image. I think just the whole stage should be. Sure. We're good. Oh, now speaking. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about like. Sorry. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. You know, it's about fighting for the people and their rights and what they want. And okay. Good evening and hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 SGA Debate. My name is Jordan Barnes, and I'm the head commissioner for the 2026 SGA Election Commission. Firstly, I would like to introduce the rest of my election commissioners. Kendra, Mofe, Bryce, Linda, Amelia, and Christopher Rindosh are co-advisors. As the SGA Election Commission, it is our job to encourage students to run for candidacy, vote for SGA officials, and ensure that there is a fair election process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to hear directly from the candidates wishing to represent you and the student body. To begin, we'll go over the structure of the debate. The debate will consist of 2 points. The first will be the Senate candidates delivering their statements, followed by executive candidates opening statements, the question and answer section, and then the executive candidates will give a closing statement. Please follow the QR code on the screen. This will take you where you may submit questions for the candidates. The questions during the executive candidate portion will come from questions submitted by the audience, as well as preset questions from the Election Commission. The Election Commission will be screening the questions and selecting the questions for moderators to ask. Questions directed towards an individual candidate or questions that attack or disparage candidates will not be read. All candidates must be able to respond to the questions asked, and due to time constraints, we cannot guarantee that all questions will be asked even if they meet these guidelines. We ask that you please be respectful of all candidates and to remain quiet while candidates are speaking so everyone can hear the candidate response. There will be no disruptive behavior tolerated, and if you're having trouble submitting a question, you can visit Chris and Amelia up here in the front. We will now begin the Senate portion of the debate. Each candidate will be invited to the stage and will have 1 minute to make a statement. At 30 seconds, our timekeeper Linda will hold up a yellow card to let you know you have 30 seconds left. At 10 seconds, Linda will hold up a red card. After your time is up, our moderator Kendra will stop you if you have not completed your comments. For candidates who could not make the debate, we have candidate statements that were submitted via email at the beginning of the election cycle that will be read by me. When you hear your name called, please come up to the stage and deliver your statement. Karis Claston. We have microphones.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry, we have microphones at the table for candidates to speak with.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Karis Claxton. I am a junior who's currently studying psychology and family science. I am truly devoted to mental health and making sure students feel heard and seen. That's just one thing that's really big on me. And I just feel like, sorry, didn't expect to go first. That also that like I am a big candidate to making sure that y'all feel heard and that y'all are, that I'm advocating for y'all issues. And also that like it's not just about me, that it's about us as an individual, us as a community, and making sure that we get what we deserve. Thank you. Please vote for me for SGA Senator.
Thank you. You can now leave the stage. Next up is Ifeoma Obuchi, who I will be reading a statement for. Hello, everyone. My name is Ifeoma Oyebuchi, and I'm running for senator. I'm a business administration major with a concentration in finance and a political science minor. I care a lot about making sure students feel heard and represented in decisions that affect our campus experience. I'm currently involved in SGA's Freshman Council as Attorney General, and through that role, I learned how important communication, accountability, and consistency are in leadership. Being in this position has also given me real insight into how SGA operates, how decisions are made, how communication flows, and where student voices are included, but also where they can sometimes fall short. What I bring is someone who pays attention, follows through, and communicates clearly. I understand that being a senator is not just about being present, it is about being accountable and making sure students' concerns do not get lost or ignored. I'm not new to holding positions where people are counting on me to show up, follow through, and advocate effectively. If elected, I want to focus on making SGA more transparent and accessible so students can actually know what is happening and feel comfortable bringing concerns forward. I also want to make sure student feedback is not just collected, but actually acted on. I'm running because I care about impact, not just the position, and I'm ready to be a voice that truly represents students. Thank you. Can we please have Imani Rhines to the stand?
Just testing. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, just making sure.
Hi, good evening, friends, faculty, staff, and most importantly, the student body of Towson University. My name is Imani Rhines. I'm a freshman studying political science with a minor in human rights and history, and I am running to be an SGA Senator. I'm also currently an SGA Senator. Now, as someone who already holds a position, I understand that you guys probably want to know more of what I have done, because me being up here is just me vowing to continue to do and see through the work that I already have done, and making sure that I'm still being a voice to the student body. So the first week on campus, or the first GA of campus, I got to pass legislation that expanded mental health resources on this campus. I've done a lot of internal work as well for improving SGA procedures and just making sure that we as an administration are doing better to work within ourselves to serve you guys and make sure that we're presenting the best SGA. So yeah, I hope to continue to do that. I hope that what I have already done is enough for you guys to say, wow, she's good enough. And please vote for me again as SGA Senator. Thank you.
Thank you, all of our senator candidates. We will now move on to executive candidates. Executive candidates will be called up by the position they are running for. Our order of speaking shall be Attorney General, Treasurer, Vice President, and finally President. All executive candidates will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. The candidates running for Attorney General, Treasurer, and Vice President will each be asked 2 to 3 questions and will have 1 minute to answer each question. The candidates running for President will be asked 4 to 5 questions and will have 1 minute to answer each question. Each executive candidate will be given a 30-second wrap-up period after the questions have been asked. All executive candidates will receive the same 30-second warning from Linda with the yellow card and a 10-second warning with the red card as the time begins to expire. Candidates, when you hear your position called, please come up to the stage. Attorney General. You guys can have a seat at the table. Sorry. It doesn't matter. Different table, yeah. So. Okay. We will start with Kadiatu Conte for her opening statements.
Hello, you guys hear me? How's everyone doing today? Great. Happy Tiger Tuesday, SGA. Great. My name is Kadiatu Conte. I am a political science major and a minor in African American Studies and a current senator for the College of Education in SGA. Throughout my time in SGA, I've seen what happens when students feel unheard, unsupported, and overlooked. I'm running because that needs to change. And to be honest, I know exactly what it feels like. I know what it feels like to feel like your voice doesn't matter, to struggle to find the right support. And that's exactly why I'm standing here today. So students who feel that way don't have to go through this campus alone. I'm here to also make sure that your voice is heard and your rights are protected and that you have someone who's actually going to advocate for you and follow through. Thank you.
We will now hear the opening statements from Jalen Hayes-Moore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jalen Hayes-Moore, and I'm running to be your next 106th Student Government Association Attorney General. I currently serve as an Associate Justice within SGA, where I work directly with the system that the Attorney General oversees. In this role, I review appeals, advise student organizations, and help ensure that our governing documents are upheld fairly and consistently. Through this experience, I've developed a strong understanding of how SGA operates and how its decisions directly impact students. My perspective is also shaped by my experience as a transfer student. When I first came to Townsend, I knew I wanted to get more involved in SGA, but I wasn't sure how to get connected. There was a disconnect. I didn't feel easily accessible or clear. It wasn't until I was reached out to that I found my place within SGA and felt a sense of community. That experience stuck with me because every student should feel like they can access SGA, understand it, and be a part of it without confusion or barriers. That's a big part of why I'm running. The Attorney General is not just a title. It's a role centered on accountability, structure, and fairness. It requires interpreting governing documents, investigating violations, enforcing responsibilities, and making decisions that directly impact students and organizations. Those are responsibilities I'm already familiar with and prepared to lead. One of the biggest issues I've seen is that many students don't fully understand how SGA works, especially when it comes to accountability and appeals. I want to change that by making sure these processes are more transparent, more understandable, and more accessible. I've already begun working toward that by contributing to legislation that improves how professional development reviews are determined, shifting the focus to that severity of actions rather than to the number of past instances. That's about making our system more fair and more intentional. I respect advocacy, but I believe every student deserves to be heard. But the Attorney General role is more than that. It's about also ensuring that systems behind that support are strong, consistent, and fair. And that's where my experience sets me apart. Thank you.
Jalen, you will be answering our first question asked by Kendra.
Hello. So my question to you, Jalen, is, well, both of you, is how would you establish a positive environment at SGA, especially when it involves clashes or toxicity in the environment?
I would say that since joining SGA, I've established a positive environment by ensuring that respect is at the first and foremost of how I operate. Respect in the sense not just of being polite to others, but respecting other people's positions, their roles, and decisions being made. Sometimes in the judicial branch, we all don't agree on something, but we are able to come to a conclusion at the end of the day that the decision made was the right decision. So I would say respect.
Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
Absolutely. So the question is, how would you establish a positive environment in SGA, especially when it involves clashes or toxicity in the environment?
Great question. I feel like it's really important to really focus on open communication, because in order for like everyone to get on the same page, we all have to like, you know, be open and talk about our different ideas. Once communication is open, that's when we can decide on like, you know, how to move forward. And I believe that that's the best way. Also, yeah.
Kendra will now read our second question, who will be answered first by Kadiatu.
Thank you. In what ways will you uphold the integrity of the SGA ethics and missions as an Attorney General?
Great question. I'll make sure to, sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
In what ways will you uphold the integrity of the SGA's ethics and missions as the Attorney General?
Integrity is really imperative for the role as Attorney General. It means to, you know, hold the same standards for yourself as you would when you have a room full of people and when you are, you know, alone. And I would ensure that by, you know, doing regular updates with senators, you know, and see like what's going on with them, just to make sure that we're on the same page and things like that. It's important for like the Attorney General to be very communicative with the whole staff of SGA, just because so we're more understanding about what's going on and things like that. Yeah.
Could you please repeat the question one more time, please?
In what ways will you uphold the integrity of the SGA's ethics and missions as the Attorney General?
As an associate justice working directly with the current Attorney General, I understand how she herself upholds those guidelines. And so for myself, I would say that just making sure how I operate is fair, consistent, and accessible. Fair in the sense that the same rules are being applied to every SGA member, not just one SGA member, but the strict guidelines are being applied to every SGA member. And I would say the same for being consistent as well, and then accessible, making sure that there is an open line of communication between me and other students and fellow SGA members as well.
Kendra will now ask our third question, which will be answered first by Jalen.
Thank you. My question to you, well, to you both, is how do you plan on maintaining accountability within the organization?
Very good question. I would say that the role of Attorney General at its core is ensuring that fairness and accountability is applied to every single student within the SGA. And so just ensuring that every student that signs up for SGA knows what they signed up for. There is a process of becoming a member, and you know what you're signing up for. And so ensuring that once the SGA member is signed up for that position, that they're doing their due diligence and duties as an SGA member, and just being consistent as well.
How do you plan on maintaining accountability within the organization?
I would start first off as I would do better training. It's important that students know exactly what they're signing up for, and I feel like that starts with like really being able to like set up a nice training program so that when the senators come, they're fully aware of the Constitution. They'll like get quizzed and make sure that they know like what it is they're signing up for, and maintaining accountability, just making sure that every student abides by the Constitution and all of the things that require of you, because if you're applying to be a person in SGA, you're supposed to hold yourself to a certain standard, and it's very important to do so.
We will now move on to the closing statement, starting with Kadiatu.
Okay, I just wanted to let everyone know in this room that at the end of the day, this election isn't solely based on a position. It's about the people of Towson. It's about the students who feel unheard. It's about the students who feel overlooked. And it's about the student who doesn't always know where to turn. And to make sure that every student in SGA is being held accountable properly. Because leadership isn't just about speaking, it's about advocating, it's about showing up, and it's about creating real change. So when you vote, remember what this campaign stands for. It stands for your voice being heard, your rights being protected, and having someone who will actually advocate for you. And I'm ready to stand on that. So thank you guys.
We will now be hearing from Jalen.
Thank you all for being here tonight and listening. I'm running for Attorney General because I believe in fairness, transparency, and making sure that SGA truly works for every student. Through my experience as an Associate Justice, I've worked directly with the systems that hold the SGA accountable, and I understand how important it is for those systems to be clear, consistent, and accessible. I also want to ensure accountability is upheld both internally within SGA and externally in how we serve students. I'm Jalen Hayes Moore, and I'm ready to serve as your Attorney General. Thank you.
Thank you to both candidates for Attorney General. You may now head back to your seats. Can the candidates for Treasurer please come to the stage? We will now hear the opening statement, starting with Nana Kwame Yeboah.
Imagine checking your tuition bill and seeing money goes to SGA, but having no idea where it goes, no control, no explanation. That's how student funding feels for too many of us, but it doesn't have to be that way. We are talking about over 2.1 million in SGA funding and over 862,000 in executive spending alone. Yet most students can't confidently say where it's going. That's the problem, and that's why I'm running for SGA. As treasurer, my name is Nana Kwame Yeboah, an accounting major, a sophomore. As treasurer, I won't just manage numbers, I'll make them make sense. I'll bring clear financial report, faster funding process, and real accountability. Because transparency isn't optional, it's your right. And let's be real, this role isn't just about budget, it's about impact. Are we reducing waste or are we prioritizing students? My answer, less waste, more for students. I don't just have ideas, I have a plan. Transparency you can see, efficiency you can feel, accountability you can trust, because this isn't just SGA money, it's also your money. Let's set a new standard. Thank you.
We will now hear Kamari Williams' opening statement.
Check, check. Can you guys hear me? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Kamari. I'm a sophomore biology student and current SGA senator, and I'm running to be the next senator of the 106 administration. So when you guys think of a treasurer, you guys probably think of someone with experience within finance and money. You wouldn't be wrong in thinking this. As Vice Chair of Appropriations Committee, I've had the experience to deal with the SGA budget, and I've dealt with the funds within those budgets. We've been able to allocate over thousands of dollars to student organizations, and I've also been able to work within those funds with replenishing those funds and also creating a new fund as well, the Large Scale Event Fund. But that experience isn't everything, to say the least. Where treasurer truly matters is dealing with the students, prioritizing the students. And I plan to prioritize every student at Towson University. And that isn't a promise, it's a commitment. I plan to, if elected, my plan is to create a fully in-depth financial guide for all students, to also open a forum for all students to voice their concerns and share their opinions and ask questions about the financial policy. And as well as that, I also open plan to meet with every single treasurer within student organizations to kind of go through what their issues were, and if they have any questions, they can also ask about that. The overall goal of all of these plans that I have for the students is to make sure that students truly feel included and included and involved within all financial processes at Towson University. No student should be asking questions about the financial policy. All students should know where their money is truly going within the financial budget. Great changes come not from me, but from the students. And so through that, I will plan to listen to all students and not only listen, but execute with those students when they're here. Thank you.
We will now hear the opening statement from Elle Miller.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elle Miller. I am a psychology and biology double major on the pre-medical track, and I am running to be your 106 SGA treasurer. I've served as both the vice chair and the chair of appropriations committee over the course of my 2 years in SGA, meaning I've become very accustomed to the SGA financial situation. Through my time in SGA, what has become glaringly obvious is that we need to do better with communicating to student organizations, especially in regards to budgeting. As treasurer, I will make the financial portion of SGA accessible and form a clear, lasting line of communication for future administrations. My first act would be to establish open office hours as a treasurer that would be posted publicly for students and organizations to come ask questions. This could be about budgets or anything regarding the financial policy in general. I would dedicate a time to have organizations come in and get one-on-one assistance with their budgets. Secondly, I would ensure that there would be sample budgets available for student organizations. This would allow organizations to see what an improved budget would look like. I would also like to start up a Treasury newsletter. This would allow for the most important information about deadlines and resources to be regularly sent out to student organizations. This would also include additional treasurer events that I plan to host that are centered around budgeting assistance. My last major point is to reformat the Treasurer Hub on the Towson website. As it is right now, it's the bare minimum information that's available. I will make sure that the Treasurer Hub becomes what its namesake is implying, a hub. There'll be information posted that will allow for transition of treasurers, both in student organizations and in SGA, to have a smoother setup for success. I've seen where SGA has repeatedly fallen short, and I'm qualified to bridge the communication and accessibility gap. Utilizing the above methods as appropriations chair, I was able to increase what the committee allocated from $6,000 to over $30,000 and counting. That is a 400% increase. Not only will I wholly dedicate myself to the student body, but I will also set up a system that will allow to bridge the gap between SGA and organizations for years to come.
Our first question will be answered by Kamari Williams.
How do you plan on ensuring student organizations remain responsible but also receive what they need financially?
So like I was kind of talking about in my opening statement, with the meeting with the treasurers, that kind of holds them, or it kind of like keeps that line of communication so that I am able to hold those treasurers accountable. As SGA treasurer, you kind of are like the treasurer of treasurers. And so with that being said, there is kind of like a line of duty that you would have to have when dealing with other treasurers, just making sure that they're doing all the right things, that they're following the right processes and all that good stuff. I'm sorry, can you repeat like the second part of your question?
So I can just repeat. How do you plan on ensuring student organizations remain responsible but also receive what they need financially?
So yeah, with receiving what they need financially, again, with meeting with those treasurers, they can kind of like face-to-face tell me what they need specifically. And with those in-depth but financial guides, it kind of like lends them that helping hand that they actually need to make sure that they're fully getting the budgets that they need and that they're not falling in between the cracks.
We will now be hearing from Nana.
How do you plan on ensuring student organizations remain responsible but also receive what they need financially?
I will hold them accountable by also, I will standardize the allocation process with clear criteria by making an impact participation and alignment with the student engagement goals, and also Every organization will have to understand what they need to qualify for funding before they apply. I will also advocate and also make decisions that are consistent, because fairness comes from structure, not favoritism.
Final question, or not, we will now hear the question answered by L. Miller.
How do you plan on ensuring student or Pardon me, I'm sorry. Am I asking a new question?
The same question.
Okay, sorry, my apologies. So how do you plan on ensuring student organizations remain responsible, but also receive what they need financially?
Thank you. This has a lot to do with my main focus of my campaign, which is the communication SGA has with student organizations. We have fallen short repeatedly, and that is what I plan to primarily address. By having open office hours, it will allow students and student organizations to come in whenever they have questions. It'll be very similar to how professors' office hours work. I will just be there in the office waiting for students to come and ask me questions. I also plan to implement a similar procedure I've used as Appropriations Chair. As Appropriations Chair, I personally emailed over 200 student organizations to let them know about the alternative funding methods. I will plan to do regular check-ins with student organizations and have them do that. I plan to host treasurer events based around how to plan and organize a budget and what that should look like, and then the reformatting of the Treasure Hub as well to include all of that information.
For the second question, we'll be starting off with L answering it.
So this is an audience question. There's a lot of misinformation being spread about the fiscal year budget and how much actually goes to student organizations. How do you plan to curb this misinformation, and what budget modifications do you have in mind?
Absolutely, thank you so much. So the fiscal year budget is published by the Student Government Association within the first few General Assemblies of the year. It outlines what is being allocated to every organization, and I plan to be very transparent about that as treasurer. As I mentioned, I plan to have a newsletter and re-update the Treasurer Hub. The fiscal year budget will be posted in the Treasurer Hub, and it will be sent out within the first newsletter. And any amendments that are made to the fiscal year budget as they go forward, it will be updated. And if there are any amendments made or any Senate bills on the floor that have to do with finances, it will be in that newsletter.
We will now be hearing from Nana Kwame Yaboa.
Yes. So there's a lot of misinformation being spread about the fiscal year budget and how much actually goes to student organizations. How do you plan to curb this misinformation, and what budget modifications do you have in mind? There's a lot of misinformation being spread about the fiscal year budget and how much actually goes to student organizations. How do you plan to curb this misinformation, and what budget modifications do you have in mind?
I believe in transparency as well, and also making it clear to the student body, and also there's the fiscal budget for the year comes out also during the first 2 SGA's assembly meetings, and also I plan to implement clear documentation requirement for all expenditures, also regular audit checks with public summaries, and also I will just make sure that transparency in general for student organization.
We will now be hearing from Kamari Williams.
So kind of like everybody was up here talking about, transparency is truly key when it comes to understanding the budgeting process or the budget itself. to students that aren't in SGA, it can be very confusing with all the budget lines and where the money is actually going. And so again, it's just really just an issue of transparency. As a treasurer, you should be as open and honest as you possibly can be with the student body. You should be telling them where exactly the money's going, whether it's going to inside initiatives or it's going to outside initiatives outside of SGA. It should all be transparent, and students should truly know where their money is going. When it comes to modifications to the budget, I would never promise something that I cannot truly commit to. And so when it comes to changing things within the budget, it is a process that you have to go through with upper administration and things of that nature. And so again, I can't promise anything that I cannot truly commit to when it comes to the budget.
For our third question, we will first be hearing from Kamari Williams.
What is the most important quality a treasurer should have?
Just clarifying, you said most supporting quality?
What is the most important? Yes,
oh,
quality.
Important. I thought you said supporting quality. I'm sorry. Most important quality, I'm gonna say 2, because why not? Transparency. Of course, I was just talking about it. As a treasurer, you should be as open as you possibly can be. You're dealing with money, and money is a very sensitive topic when it comes to students. I mean, the students pay $50 in SGA fees. That's a lot of, that's a little bit. So you have to be transparent about where student money is actually going. And then also, it's about how, what's the word? Connected, how connected you are to the student body. You can't be transparent if you're not truly connected to the students. How can you tell students things if you're not connected? How can you tell student organizations things if you're not connected with them? It's truly about being connected, and through being connected, you can be as transparent as you possibly can be.
We will now be hearing from L. Miller.
Hi. The most important quality I believe a treasurer could have, of course, I share the sentiment of transparency, but for the sake of answering something differently, I will say it is important that a treasurer is knowledgeable. If the treasurer does not know what is going on with their finances, they're not going to be able to help other organizations or other students understand those finances. That has been a major lapse every year in the administration. Since we roll over every year, every treasurer and every position has had to start learning everything fresh. And I think that is where I bring something special to the table. I have experience with the budgeting process and all of the information that goes into it, so I will be able to jump right in and start helping students.
We will now be hearing from Nana Kwame Yaboa.
I will also say transparency, because students deserve to know how and why money decisions are made, not behind the scenes where financial decisions are made. I will also make sure open communication happens before we make those changes. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our treasurer candidates. You may now leave this. We will now go to the closing statements for the treasurer candidates, starting with L. Miller.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time. I am dedicated to addressing the gap between SGA and the students. I've dedicated hours to rewriting the financial policy for student organizations in order to be more accessible. I have also worked tirelessly to learn the ins and outs of our financial system, rewriting it where needed so that you don't have to scrutinize over learning it for yourself. This is what the treasurer should be, a bridge. Not only will I wholly dedicate myself to the student body during my administration, but I will also set up a system that will allow for communication gap between SGA and organizations to close. Vote L. Miller as your treasurer, a dedicated and knowledgeable bridge to students.
We will now hear Kamari Williams' closing statement.
I just want to close out with a statement. A good treasurer can handle money, but a great treasurer can handle the students. With that being said, and what I mean is, A treasurer isn't just about knowledge. It isn't just about knowing the money. It isn't just about knowing the budgets. You truly have to know how to handle the students in order to fully go about being a good treasurer. And so I won't promise perfection, but I will promise my execution.
We will now be hearing from Nana Kwame Yeboah.
As we close tonight, remember this. This election isn't just about who speaks best, it's about who you trust with your money. Every dollar in SGA comes from students, and every decision should reflect you. I'm not running just for a title. I'm running to fix what students face every day: confusion, delays, and lack of transparency. I'm ready from the beginning. So I ask yourself, do you want more of the same, or do you want a new standard? A standard where your money is clear, students are supported, and SGA works for you. Let's set a new standard.
Excuse me, that is the end of your time. I would like to thank all the treasurer candidates for coming here to speak. You may now leave the stage. Also, I do want to make clear, you are allowed to enter from any doors, either side of the stage. But, okay. Will the vice president candidates please come to the stage? We will now hear the opening statements, starting with Kevin Farrell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Farrell, and I'm running to be your next SGA Vice President. I currently chair the Government Operations Committee, which oversees every single resolution that is introduced through the Student Senate. Now, I'm not going to bore you all by reading off my resume because I understand that's not something that students want to hear, but what they do want to hear is how SGA can really make an impact on their lives. Now, I understand in a lot of aspects, I'm not your typical vice president candidate. I've only been in SGA since August, but from the short time that I've been here, I've been able to make a real impact on campus. During the government shutdown that happened last fall, I was able to work with the Vice President of Student Affairs to address food insecurity towards students that were impacted at that time. And through that work, I was able to assist him with the creation of Towson's free food alert app, which gives an alert on students' phones after catering events for free food. I also worked with them to update their freedom of expression pamphlet that can be found in the SGA and the Civic Engagement Office. Additionally, I created a survey with the Housing and Residence Life to discuss laundry issues. From the time that I've been here, I didn't just find the problems, I created solutions. I didn't wait until wanting to be vice president to do that. I believe the most important quality for this role to have is genuine care for the student body. And I ultimately understand that the VP cannot write resolutions, and so I want to instill that passion into every senator for the 106th administration as the leader of the legislative branch.
We will now be hearing from Ryan Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Kelly. After serving in the legislative branch for the past 2 years, I've learned something. Your title does not determine your impact. I've seen senators, directors, and assistant directors, and everyday members of this organization make a real change. Not because of their position or title, but because they are willing to step up and do the work. And that's what this role is about. Anyone can stand up here and list their achievements off of a piece of paper, but this position isn't about what you've done in the past. It's about what you're going to do in the future. I'm running for this position for one reason, because I believe this is where I can make the most tangible impact for students. If I felt I could accomplish the same in my current role, I would not be here tonight. If elected, my focus is simple: everyday, tangible results. Every single student pays into SGA, and that means we have a responsibility not just to exist, not just to meet, but to actually tangibly deliver for students every single day. That means using our $2 million budget to help alleviate financial burdens that every single student is facing currently. That means making sure students can challenge us and hold us accountable when we are not following through on our commitments. And that means empowering the people in this organization to take action and make an impact regardless of their position in this organization. SGA is at its best when it is active, responsive, and focused on the students that we represent. That's the standard I believe in, and that's the standard I will bring as your vice president. Thank you.
Our first question will be answered by Ryan Kelly.
Okay, hello. In the event that the president is unavailable, how do you plan to step into the role and support them and uphold the duties of the administration?
Yeah, so I feel like really the most important thing is being able to be there for them. A lot of times when there's issues in the administration, other people in the executive board don't get blamed. It always goes to the president. And so kind of you have to be there to support them even when nobody else is there to support them. The vice president role isn't just about talking to senators and advocating for legislation. It's also about emotionally supporting the other people in your branch.
We will now hear from Kevin Farrell.
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. So in the event that the president is unavailable, how do you plan on stepping in to support them and uphold the duties of the administration?
I believe that I have already created a lot of relationships between upper administration and the student body. And so when it comes to if the president is lacking on their responsibilities, I believe through the relationships I've already created, I will be able to fully step into their roles and be able to be that second chain of command. As many people can attest to, I'm someone who really is on it when it comes to organization, when it comes to making sure that students feel heard. And so I believe through those traits, I'm able to successfully serve as the second in command to SGA.
For our second question, we will first be hearing from Kevin Farrell.
As vice president, how do you plan on fostering a welcoming and productive community within the Senate?
So I think the first thing that comes with being vice president is actually remembering each senator's names and actually going up to talk to them. As I said this before, as many people can attest to, I do actively try to make an effort to talk to each and every senator to help them with legislation and not just wait for them to come to me, but I go to them. Rather that be writing a resolution for them to give and or supporting them in the creation of legislation. But I ultimately understand that when it comes to fostering a positive environment, it first comes with that first chain of connection and that care for them.
We will now be hearing from Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, so I think it's more than just legislation. I've been able to make friends with countless senators that I know I will leave with friendships outside of SGA. So really it starts with building a actual relationship with them, because then they're able to come with you with concerns that you guys can talk about together and kind of go to a real solution. I've worked with, in my current roles, countless senators on legislation that before I knew them, they didn't really know how to navigate upper administration, but basically I was able to help them through that process and get legislation passed through the Senate.
For our next question, we will first hear from Ryan Kelly.
Ready. So what steps do you think SGA should take to understand and address the needs of students in the future?
So I think there needs to be a more accessible and constant line of communication. I feel like a lot of students kind of see SGA more afraid to come directly. And so I feel like the best way to do that is to go out to them first before making them come to us. I've talked to a lot of students through the campaign one-on-one about issues that I never heard about before. But also I think it's more about actually following through after the election, not just saying, okay, I'm going to do this and then never follow through. I think follow through is a very key thing for this position, especially for the Senate. I see it as the backbone of this organization because we do vote on countless things that change in the academic and just our daily lives go here. Yeah.
We will now be hearing from Kevin Farrell.
One more time.
Yes. What steps do you think SGA should take to understand and address the needs of students in the future?
I believe the steps that SGA should take is something that I've already done, which is actually talking to students. With the laundry resolution, as I spoke about before, that was something directly from students because a lot of students that were living in the Glen Towers, they were having a lot of laundry issues. And so just constantly actually talking to real students, and that's essentially what all of our pillars are based off of. When we were talking to students about getting them to sign our petitions, we actually asked them what are the issues that are facing them on campus, and we were able to incorporate that in our campaign. And so I believe in the legislative branch, we need to do more outreach and not just waiting for them to come to us.
Thank you.
For our next question, we will first be hearing from Kevin Furrow.
How do you plan to stay connected to Towson University students and groups?
Honestly, it's just by following up and also making sure that I actively talk to them. I feel as though one of the main issues with SGA, as someone who this is my first year and then seeing it from an outside student perspective, is making sure that people see us as people and in addition to our roles. And that humanity aspect of people talking to us, joking with us, however, gives students more of an opportunity to come to us. And so creating an environment where students are able to do that and actually making sure that we maintain those connections.
We will now be hearing from Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, so I think SGA has a massive amount of resources that we can be using, not just through legislation, but our actual budget. There are countless campaigns and advocacies and programs that we're looking to implement through the budget. And I think we need to be addressing the everyday issues that every single student at this university is facing, like affordability. Affordability is a huge issue right now, and I feel like SGA, with our budget, we can be addressing that by increasing funding to the Basic Needs Hub, covering printing costs, covering parking fee violations, things like that that affect every single student at this university, just on a more personal level, to understand that we actually hear your everyday concerns.
For our third question, we'll be starting off hearing from Ryan Kelly.
How do you plan to support the president while still bringing in your own ideas and leadership to the role?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on this before, but the president is the face of the organization, and so whenever something goes wrong, they are the first to get blamed. It's not the vice president, it's not the attorney general, it's not the treasurer, and so I'm gonna have to be there to be the one to lift them up and push them through the difficult times, because the truth is, in the future, there will be times when students are angry at the president, and I have to be there to help them emotionally, sit down, just have a conversation, let them kind of tell me what's going on. I think that's really it's about the emotional connection.
We will now be hearing from Kevin Farrell.
Could you repeat your question one more time?
Yes. How do you plan to support the president while still bringing in your own ideas and leadership to the table?
So, as many people in this room have worked with me, one of the things that I've been told, either sometimes as a compliment, sometimes as an insult, is that I'm pretty headstrong and I have a really strong opinion, but that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to let go of that. One of the quotes that I truly live by is strong opinions loosely held, which means that you do have strong feelings about how you believe, but also having that open mind to accept new things. When it comes to supporting the president, I believe that it honestly comes with being an individual and serving as that support, while also still holding them accountable as their vice president.
I'd like to thank both candidates for answering these questions. We will now be going on to the closing statements, starting with Kevin Farrell.
I'm gonna do something here. So I believe the greater movement that is being built by each and every senator that spoke today and the senators that are coming truly does show of how many people do care about the student body and do really care to really do care to supporting them. And as And if I am elected as the leader of the legislative branch, I want to support that passion and support that dream. Thank you.
We will now hear Ryan Kelly's closing remarks.
Yeah, so I'd just like to say, with everything that I've said here today, I encourage everyone, 6 months from now to play back this recording and to see what I have said has been accomplished. And if it hasn't, then you can hold me accountable. My focus is on everyday results, holding me and the people I'm working with accountable if we are not fulfilling the things we have said for our campaign and what we have said today. Thank you.
Thank you to both of our vice president candidates. You may now leave the stage. Can we please have our presidential candidates come to the stage? We will start our opening statements with Janiyah Tasker.
Good evening. Our campaign is not about maintaining what's already been done. It's about changing what hasn't been working and improving what is already in place. Because students deserve more than updates after the fact, they deserve to be a part of the conversation. Too many students feel unheard, unsure of how to engage, and disconnected from decisions that directly affect them. Leadership does not start with the title. It starts with the passion for advocacy. It starts with being open and relatable to the student body. It starts after an election, during an election, and before. If something isn't working, you should know where to go and who to challenge with answers. Student fees are your money. At the end of the day, too many students go unheard or don't even understand how their tuition dollars come back to them. That changes with us. We're putting funding back into students and student organizations where it belongs. We are operating on a budget of over $2 million, and you deserve to see a return on your investment. Because right now, there is a gap between what students need and how resources are being spent. When internal spending is cut by our campaign, you will see a widespread difference where it truly matters. Because real change doesn't start internally so that it can be reflected externally. It starts with the same people who have a passion and advocacy for change. And that's what it looks like. Students with disabilities who deserve accessibility and not barriers, commuter and off-campus students who should feel a part of the campus and not like an extension, undocumented and marginalized students who deserve to feel safe and supported, and every student perspective deserves to be respected and not overlooked. SGA needs to simply begin pouring back into the students who trusted us and believed in us in the beginning, because real change only happens when students believe in it. Thank you.
We will now hear the opening statement for Rain Rivera Forbes.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rain Rivera Forbes. I'm a sophomore law and American civilization major with a double major in political science, and I'm running to be your 106th SGA president. Now, I'm really not a resume builder here, and I'm not a resume reader either. I actually want to tell you the story of why I joined SGA. I was 17 years old, and I had recently graduated from Duval High School in Prince George's County, Maryland, when I had texted Marlon, the former SGA treasurer from the 104th administration, and asked him, how can I join SGA? I was very passionate. I cared so much about advocacy, and I knew when I came to Towson I wanted to be involved immediately. And so I did. I ended up attending my first retreat at 17 years old. I actually had to get a guardian to sign my paper and everything, just so I could be involved in the entire process of SGA. Later on, I then ran to be the Appropriations Committee chair, and I actually was able to start the groundwork of building the Appropriations Committee to what it is today. That was my beginning in SGA. But now I want to share with you my future. I have a vision, and really I have a dream for what SGA could look like here at Towson. And more than just students sitting in positions for a leg up or for a title, students advocating, students accurately representing the student body that we stand for. And today I stand with you all because I am one of you. I am a student who came here looking for an education, but also came here looking for an opportunity to build myself and my future. And alongside you all, that's what I want to do. That's what 4UTU is going to do if we're given the opportunity to represent you. Every single day, every single voice, everything matters here. This is extremely important to me. It's more than just an election. It's more than just a competition. This is who we are. This is Towson University as a whole. And everyone is a stakeholder here. Everyone matters. Thank you.
For our first question, we will be hearing from Rain Rivera Forbes.
What does leadership and being a leader mean to you?
I love that question. Leadership to me really means being able to not only just, like I said before, represent and being an advocate, but also understanding who you're representing. I'm a strong and firm believer that you cannot represent a crowd that you don't understand. You can't represent a group of people when you haven't been in their situation before. So a true leader knows exactly what they're doing when they step into any room they walk into. Even sitting here right now, I know exactly what I'm saying to you all, because again, I am one of you. That's what a leader is to me. And a leader accurately affects and changes their environments according to what they believe in properly as well. That's what I see a leader.
We will now be hearing from Janiyah Tasker.
Leadership to me means advocacy. It means going to the untouched and the unheard populations of this campus. It means touching those who often feel like they're overlooked and underrepresented. It means going to the commuter student who has been struggling to get from West Village to LA because their core parking pass is overlooked and overfilled in the garages. It means touching the disabled and the accessible kids on campus because they're struggling to go from Stevens to liberal arts on crutches because our campus is not currently accessible. Leadership to me isn't about making a promise. Leadership to me is about starting when the advocacy and when the doors are closed. Leadership to me means going out and touching populations across the campus and off campus. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't a title. It's not something that you're given. Leadership is something you're born into. When you have a passion, you'll work regardless of whether you win, whether you lose, and whether you start. Thank you.
For our second question, we will first hear from Janiyah Tasker.
What are your exact initiatives and how do you plan to implement them?
Right now, my exact initiative is to, one, reach out to the student population where their tuition dollars are not being heard. As I said before, we have a $2.1 million budget, and I want to cut our internal expenses, not because I don't believe SGA is doing what it needs to do right now, but because there is so much more that we can touch, so much more scholarships and grants we can give back to, so many students on campus with disabilities that we can actually provide mobile wheelchairs and rinser programs on campus. There are so many more students who need food and dietary restrictions. There's so many students off campus right now who don't feel included because they can't reach food because meal plans don't go to students who don't have housing on campus. So right now, my initiative starts from internal expansion so that externally we can build Towson into the institution that I truly believe that it can be. Thank you.
We will now hear from Rain Rivera Forbes.
My initiatives are not just my own because I am a team, so I will share with you the pillars that my team and myself do stand on, which is for you, transparency, and unity. These are very important words to us because it establishes exactly what we want to be as the 106 administration. For our For You pillar, it's really designed in office hours. I want accessibility. I want you to be able to walk in and say, hey girl, let's talk. Let's do this, let's do that. Or even if you need to get concerns off, just to have the accessibility and the ability to talk to me. Alongside that, parking violations. I've seen that many students on campus have been receiving tons of parking violations, especially freshmen. So that's something we want to look at. For transparency, a 30-day plan. We want to be the first administration to implement a plan that actually shows that we're following through with what we're doing, and that will be written in our SGA legislation as well. Alongside that, with unity, I want to expand student representative roles like in UJIMA and LASSO, which I've already started doing because nothing I'm telling you here I haven't started working on yet. And alongside that as well, monthly town halls, revisiting our alternative funding,
I'm sorry,
and much
but that
more.
is the end of your time. For our third question, we will hear from Rain Rivera Forbes.
What are some strategies that you have to handle the conflict within SGA?
I would say the most important strategy that I have is I've seen two administrations go through SGA, the 104th and the 105th. I know exactly what it's like to have positive conflict or even to have neutral conflict. And among that, the first step that I will take moving forward is understanding every single role in SGA. I know all the way from the executive branch to legislative branch to just everything. I know everything in SGA. And with that, I understand exactly how each role operates, and I know exactly how I plan to talk to students as well that are within the administration. Sitting down with them, getting personal one-on-one, what's going on? How can we solve this issue? How can we navigate through this? I think just having a harsh PDR system is not enough. We're all students. We need to understand each other more. We can say we're going to have integrity and hold each other accountable, but we also have to understand what each other are going through as well. So in accountability, I also want to have grace as well.
We will now hear from Janiyah Tasker.
At the end of the day, we're college students and conflict will always arise, but conflict is understanding things with empathy and accountability first and understanding different perspectives. As college students, we're all gonna have different perspectives about where we come from and who we represent, but at the end of the day, if we have internal conflict, then we won't be able to help the student body externally. My main goal right now is to foster a community that is approachable and that can have diverse perspectives and can have the tough conversations. Because at the end of the day, if you can't have a tough conversation, if leadership cannot be challenged, if your leadership cannot be questioned, then are you truly ready to lead and represent the student body? Because at the end of the day, presidency is not going to be easy. Presidency is going to be endless nights of constant communication internally and externally with students, organizations, higher administration, and the team that I'm working with. So I am prepared to set a new standard, and I am prepared for that challenge. Thank you.
For our next question, we will first be hearing from Janiyah Tasker.
How have you supported student activism in the past?
Thank you for that. One of the main campaign pillars that I'm running on is for disability awareness because I have an invisible disability myself, which is celiac disease. It's one of the main reasons why I advocate for the commuter student, for the student who can't get accessible housing. My own mother has lupus, so off campus, I am highly involved in the lupus community. On campus, I am president of the Pre-Law Association because, again, I don't believe advocacy starts from a title. I believe it starts from true passion, dedication. I know the people that I'm running with, which is Ryan and Nana, have a true passion for advocacy, which is why a title means nothing if you can't truly serve and lead the population that you want to affect the most change in. Thank you.
We will now be hearing from Rain Rivera-Forbes.
Student activism is very important to me. In the past two administrations, I've actually been able to attend Tiger Pride Day, which is an opportunity for SGA to go to Annapolis and directly advocate on issues that are concerning the school system. At this previous Tiger Pride Day, my biggest points in advocacy was on funding for students, grants, and also for funding towards military students as well. With this, I plan to continue working towards this as an administration. This is annual, and SGA will continue to do that. But alongside that, inviting more students to continue getting involved and continue advocating on campus. I won't tell you that I have everything planned out now because each year, as we know, something new comes, but we keep tackling it on again and again and again as it comes as well. Even recently with the civic engagement town hall on immigration, I was able to be there and just listen to so many students, their stories, to listen to so many collaborative ideas as well that we can implement in the future. And I plan to continue to do that as president as well.
For our last question, we will be starting with Rain Rivera-Forbes.
What experiences do you have that will help you be successful in this role?
Well, to start off, I would say my first experience, again, high school, I love SGA. I've been doing SGA since my freshman year, but specifically I was student member of the Prince George's County Board of Education. In that position, I was able to work directly in being a liaison for all students in my county. That was my first step in understanding a role that is a representative and liaison, which is exactly what president is. Later on, I was able to end up going for a big position here at Towson University, which is student regent for the University System of Maryland Board of Regents. Specifically in that role, I represent every single student in the state of Maryland that attends a public institution under the USM, and I'm able to work with presidents from other schools as well, gain lots of insights from them, knowledge, and like I said, I was also in SGA last semester last year as the Appropriations Committee Chair, where I helped write legislation, and even now I'm currently writing legislation for our student representatives. So I would say overall, that's my experience, that's the knowledge that I have as a whole for SGA, and I'm continuing to grow and learn as the years go on as well.
We will now hear from Janiyah Tasker.
Experience is definitely important. I've served in SGA at Towson University for the past 2 years. I came as a senator for the College of Transfer Students. I progressed to government operations chair, and then finally I was able to serve as president pro tempore. But experience isn't the only thing that makes a student leader. It isn't the only thing that would shape this presidency. Anybody can get up here and talk. Anybody can hold a title. Anybody can hold a position. But at the end of the day, it's, are you going to get the work done when the doors close? Are you going to continue to advocate after election is over? Are you going to continue to sit back and let student money go to waste? Or are we going to genuinely sit down and look at what our administration can do to be better? Right now, I think what SGA really needs to do is rebuild the trust with organizations and with students. We can't keep starting from the same foundation. Sometimes it is a possibility where you have to throw the foundation away, reevaluate, take self-reflection, work with your team, and come back with greater experience to make the organization better and whole. Thank you.
We will now be moving on to closing statements, starting with Janiyah Tasker.
Thank you for everyone who came out tonight, because this is what student advocacy and leadership looks like. Students asking questions, students expecting answers, and students being prepared to challenge. I am ready to take the next challenge as the 106th administration president. However, win or lose, my advocacy does not stop, my tenacity doesn't stop, and my courageous effort to advocate for this campus community. I truly believe that with Nana, Kelly, and I, we can be the next standard that will uplift, challenge, and accept criticism and face challenges in the moment and in continuous efforts. Thank you.
We will now hear from Rain Rivera-Forbes.
All I can say is For You to You does not stop now, does not stop whether we win or not. It's always going to be something that we're working towards every single day. Everyone that's currently running with me is committed to returning to SGA whether we win or not and finishing our terms fully. We are devoted to the student body. We're devoted to Towson University. We chose this school for a reason, as you all did, and we're here to stand with you. I hope you all know that we are a team of genuineness, and we're not running just for a title or position. We're not running to write it off on our resume either. We care, and that's why we're here. And every single day, we will make sure that works for you. Thank you.
I would like to thank both of our presidential candidates for coming out tonight. You may now leave the stage. On behalf of the Election Commission, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Your participation in these events is appreciated by both the Election Commission and the candidates. We'd like to remind everyone that voting begins on Wednesday, April 15th at 9 a.m. and continues until April 16th at 4 p.m. You can vote at any of our polling locations around campus or online at involved.towson.edu. Have a great night and see you at the polls. You want to be on the stage? Chris, do you want to come on the stage? Where do you guys want to take it? I feel like I messed up. I should not get permission. Next year, you guys are all going to have to learn to